Mitakipi. It is a good day. I wanted to talk about etymologies and morphemes. Etymology is the history or the study of how words form and come together. Morphemes are the smallest units, so like syllables and stuff. So like when a big word could mean a combination of little smaller words put together. And it's a lot of how our language is built, actually. But what I want to talk about is how we've gotten a lot of these talking points, and when you look underneath them, they're BS, they're illusions, they're not really real, they're just one person's interpretations on different research and different things. So etymology, I read a research article today that talked about how etymology helps acquire vocabulary, and vocabulary acquisition is the meat and potatoes of language acquisition. It's kind of a lot of the big picture of it all. So one way that we have silenced our elders and our speakers and decentered them as the authorities on our language, and also I would say stripped a lot of our philosophy, our teachings, our culture, our worldview from our language, is by saying, don't talk about the language, talk in the language, as well as don't focus on etymology, don't focus on morphemes, all right? So one side of the argument is that, I think, first of all, it's a balance thing. Okay, so one side of the argument is that we've spent a lot of time talking about the etymologies and the morphology and the morphemes and how the words come to be, but then we don't actually spend time in the language. That's a valid thing. Okay, but on the flip side of that, when we then we went completely the other way, where we completely stripped our language of its spirit. We're passing on a superficial spirit language, and we're decentering our elders as the authorities, right? Then it makes our language and the transmission of our language just a linguistic exercise, and we lose a lot of our worldview and our perspectives. This is how it comes to be that we can have outside authorities, outside people be the world leading authorities on our language, and this is how we've silenced and decentered our elders. Now, so back to etymology. I read a research article that was done in India that spoke about how teaching English and speaking about the history and formation of words helped these students to get the words better in their heads. It helped them to acquire the vocabulary, and most of language acquisition is vocabulary acquisition, especially with some of the modern research, like to treat grammar like vocab, right? So it's kind of the name of the game in language acquisition. And in a couple examples of etymology. So last year, I asked Lexi Adrian, I said, is this word right for, can you say window like this? Ojan Jagalepi? And he said, oh, that makes sense, the light comes through it. And I was like, wow, that's a cool way to look at it, because to me, I'm looking at Ojan Jagalepi in a dictionary, and then it says, this means window, right? So I didn't even hit me that what the words meant. He said, yeah, you could say it like that. And then I told the kids that. I said, Ojan Jagalepi. And then I put it together like, oh yeah, we're teaching Ojanja. But Ojan Jagalepi. And then I told the kids that. Lexi Adrian said that it means the light comes through it. Ojanja is the light, and then the Glepi must be where it allows it to come through it. And when I did that, then all the kids, they got it. And then they went, my sister's a math teacher. So they saw me early in the morning with Lakota, and then they saw math later in the day. And then they were telling my sister that, yeah, Ojanja Glepi, that means they got the word that quick. See, that's the power of etymology. And then another thing, so like a philosophy thing, an example is Lexi Rich talked about Tunkashila. Now we can translate that as grandfather, God, creator, however we want to, but he said it used to be Tchokeaki wa Unshila. And there's a lot embedded in those words, and I don't really feel comfortable translating. I'm not a first language speaker, but he said over time, it got shortened, and as we said it more and more, to Tunkashila. That was his view of the word, right? And so ask an elder speaker what that might mean. I have my ideas, but I'm not going to say. Another one is Winuch Jala and Wichach Jala. So Albert Whitehat, in his book, Reading and Writing and Speaking the Lakota Language, along with Jerome Kilsmo, they spoke about Wichach Jala. So that word, if you look in the dictionaries, it could be translated as old man or elder man. And but they broke that word down. We cha is the male part of it, and the ja is to bloom. Ja, and in this case, they're talking about when an elder man reaches their maturity or their wisdom, their wisdom is fully in bloom. Ja, right? So we not that's in the word like we nachja, flower, you know, ja. So we chachja, la, and then the la is the compassion. La is the term of endearment. I love them, I cherish them. So mi chungshi la. So I could say mi chungshi, which means my daughter, and then I could throw the la in there, mi chungshi la, my cherished, precious daughter. So what we're really saying, we chachjala, is we're saying a man whose wisdom that we cherish, that we love, that has fully bloomed, that has fully blossomed. That's a lot different and a lot deeper than saying old man. And that's the power. And then the same thing with we nu jala. We nu is the female part. Ja is their wisdom has bloomed. And then la is that we cherish and love. It's a different way to look at our elders and the Lakota thought behind that. See, that's the power of etymology. That's the power of our philosophies. Lexi Bryan was talking to me yesterday, and he was telling me that he made a song that a song came to him that was about was it the Korean battle or one of the world conflicts that our people had gone to, and he made a song, and he told me the words, and it was like a sentence in Lakota, maybe two. But he said, I can't translate it, Tushka. And he was talking to Lexi Rich, another fluent speaker, and they talked about how they're trying to translate this, but if they translated it with all the meanings in those words, he said it would be a long translation, a huge translation. And so he's trying to talk to he said, I'm going to talk to a bunch of fluent speakers, how they would translate that, and then hopefully we can narrow that song down. But me, I want to be like, Lexi, translate it with everything in it, man. We need all that. That's our language. That's our philosophy, our teachings, you know. So I'm going to keep talking to him about that, and I'm going to try to see if I can get the understandings of his song and his mindset and his frame of mind, what they say. And he always says, fluent speakers, speakers, they would just know what I'm talking about, he said. But English, it's hard to find the English words that covers the Lakota thought. So I'm not saying our classes should be all etymology or all morphemes, because then we're not like learning the language in a lot of ways, or we're spending a lot of time on that. But it needs to be a balanced thing. It can't just be, well, no etymology, no morphemes. It can't go the other way, because then that's what happens. We strip our language of our philosophy, of our mindset. And then that's how outside linguists could position themselves as the authorities on our language. Our elders have always been the authorities and always will be the authorities on our language. Their knowledge is beyond what 20 doctorate degrees could do. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I've come to with that, and just the fact that there's research that supports that teaching through etymology helps vocabulary acquisition. So I just wanted to say that and put that out there.